Flowers, that's the wrong guy to pass it to in that situation, and they turn it over. Oh, it's kind of the story of...
Why did this simple moment from a college basketball game go viral? This clip of Jalen Hands lifting up Moses Brown's chin still hovers around social media feeds. It's been labelled as one of the greatest acts of spontaneous leadership caught on camera. But I think it tells us and shows us something else. That body language is a secret weapon in sport. It's happening every second of every game, match or race that we watch. But do we really always see it and what impact it's having on the outcome? Do we really process what's going on when the commentator says their heads have dropped or he looks like a man possessed? And if we did become more aware of it, could we ourselves use this secret weapon to enhance our own performance? Let's find out. So let's play a little hypothetical game. I'm going to challenge you to a game of rugby. I'm feeling generous and I'll give you 10 grand if you and 14 other teammates can last the whole game against one of two opponents. And there's no catch, you just have to choose who you play against. So here are your options. Team 1. And we've also got Team 2. It's a no-brainer who you're picking, right? And let's go back a sec. This fella doesn't know what he's doing, and just look at this guy. Brilliant. Anyway, that's New Zealand's haka, a traditional Maori dance performed as a group to represent a display of a tribe's pride, strength, and unity. And the point of showing you this is to demonstrate how body language sets the scene for any sporting encounter. Many of us cringe at pre-game handshakes, but these are the foundation of building team spirit and a shared understanding of the non-verbal language teammates end up speaking. And there's evidence to support this. Psychology professor Dacha Keltner has found that the more touching between teammates on NBA teams, the better the teams do. Those simple high fives, low fives, chest bumps and fist bumps all add up to create a sense of unity. That means teams move on from mistakes quicker, get back into defensive position quicker, and execute plays to perfection. He's even found that most teams have an MVT, a most valuable toucher, whose amount of tactile behaviour is positively correlated with the team's performance. Oh, MVT. How's he come up with that one? But physical touch is essential in sport because it causes the release of oxytocin, a chemical that's known as the bonding hormone. New mothers release this in abundance to help them form a connection to their baby, and we all release it whenever we hug someone who we love or trust. In sport, it helps foster this bond between teammates that over time leads to a deeper understanding of one another. And so body language is all about these subtle behaviours that we all exhibit when interacting with ourselves and other people that can ultimately have huge impacts on performance. But why is this? Well, let's look at another example. So recently, Kylian Mbappe, one of the best young players in world football, missed the decisive penalty as France crashed out of Euro 2020 against the Swiss underdogs. Did you spot that? There he's biting his lip, which has been found to be a classic sign that someone is nervous and feeling anxious. And there he does it again and again. Compare that to this penalty he scored for PSG earlier in the season. Eyes focus ahead of the goal, mouth slightly open to take in more oxygen. He looks like he's got one thought and one thought only, banging in this penalty. And then if you look here at his arms, hands on hips, which is seen as a power pose, that someone is confident and in control of a situation or just feeling very self-assured. And then his run-up is very controlled, measured, and again he seems in control the whole time right up until he caresses the ball into the net. Now if we go back to Euro 2020, his arms are limply by his side. Although it's the same run-up, it seems less deliberate, even a bit hesitant. And it's a great save from the keeper, but it's at a very comfortable height for him and far from being fully in the corner. It's easy for me to say this now, but when I was watching this live, I just had a feeling that Mbappe was going to miss. And sure, it's the most pressurised moment of his entire career, but it just seems that he lost control of his body language, and that ultimately contributed to him missing, especially when you compare it to all the previous penalties he scored for PSG so calmly. So what's the lesson here? Well, we call it body language because it is another form of communication. It communicates how we're feeling and also gives an insight into what we're about to do. And our body language, just like our verbal language, can dramatically alter how other people perceive us, particularly in the context of sports, your opponents. And this is hardwired into us from evolution. When you look at other animals, they signal their status, power or strength through symbolic gestures, and we too instinctively do this. One famous study found that both seeing and blind runners would celebrate winning races by stretching out their arms, a clear sign of pride. And the blind runners had been blind from birth, so they had not actually ever seen this gesture before they had done it themselves. So given these are instinctive, it means that we all engage in a range of gestures depending on if things are going well or if they're going badly. But the very best performers, they come to realize that you can recondition yourself so that you can avoid some of the negative body language gestures and instead hack and best utilize the positive body language gestures. So let's run through some so that you can start using this secret weapon. Wherever possible, always keep your head held high. In competitive context, the classic bowing of the head is a signal of submission and also a very defensive position. Doing this can enhance feelings of being under threat and therefore raise your anxiety levels, meaning you'll become more likely to miss that shot or just get dominated by your opponent. But holding your head high is a sign of confidence and will also help with opening the chest out, and this in turn helps stabilize or generally improve your breathing. And those deep breaths are going to dial back that anxiety so that your stress response is helping you and not hindering you. And also when it comes to using your head, particularly if you play a team sport, start getting used to using chin juts and also recognizing them in your teammates. These typically reveal a sign of interest, and in the context of sport, may reveal that your teammate is making a run into a particular area, or there might be a specific gap in the opposition. And also prior to games, races, or matches, spend some time utilizing power poses. These have been studied extensively by Amy Cuddy, who has demonstrated that just 2 minutes of power posing can dramatically improve confidence and reduce feelings of anxiety and nervousness. This is exactly why boxers will outstretch their arms like they've already won before a match, and why in the case of Anthony Joshua, he was defeated by Anthony Ruiz in 2019. He looked like a scared contender, not the heavyweight champion of the world prior to their first fight. And lastly, you just want to avoid bad body language in and around your teammates, in training, and in front of your coaches. Sulking, slouching, rolling your eyes, and just looking around during practice or training signals one thing, and one thing only to your coach: that you don't have the right attitude or mindset to perform at the level that your team needs you to. So instead, stand tall, make eye contact, nod in agreement with your coach to show that you understand, and keep those high fives up with your teammates. They say actions speak louder than words, and that's exactly why every athlete should make active efforts to improve their body language.